Why is anyone there? At last. Sorry, I am so late. Okay, cool. You there? Oh my goodness, if you can hear me, can you let me know? Oh, what a day. Oh, first of all, I really apologise. Um, I thought it was all set up and everything. I got a new phone this afternoon, so I kind of thought, right, okay, I am gonna rig all that up and everything. And hi Sue, at last, I'm glad glad someone's there and it's actually stuck with me. I'm so sorry. Hi Elaine, hi, I'm here now. I must apologise. So basically, hi Gillian. I can see there's 20 of you watching, so that's great. And another Gillian, hi. Honestly, why is technology so difficult? Is it my age or something? I don't know. Hi, Jacqueline. Nice to see you. Um, love your t-shirt. Yeah. Do you like our t-shirts? I know. I thought I would. The other night when I was on the other night, I kind of thought I'm not going to stand up, but look, it's Winnie. But the other night I thought, oh, I didn't wear my Folkadoodle t-shirt, so yeah. Um, so anyway, yeah, as I said, I'm really sorry that I'm 3/4 of an hour late. So I got a new phone this afternoon. We thought it was all okay and everything, which it was. To be fair, it wasn't the phone's fault. I come to actually log in. I've been here since about 6:20 trying to get this sorted out. And basically, I'm on a Mac, and the Mac had decided to do an update. It wouldn't see the camera. So I've literally spent an hour trying to do updates and everything else. Oh, lots of you here. Hi, everybody. Right, I don't want to blab on too much tonight like I did. Oops, let me get rid of that. You don't need that. Um, I did the other night. I ramble. I know I ramble. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to try and just get straight in so it doesn't get boring. And if I start getting boring and rambling too much, just leave me a comment and say, stop rambling, Nikki. I can see all of your comments as they're coming in, so which is really nice. Gillian's got a cuppa. I feel like I could do the drink, quite frankly, after the last hour. I have got a glass of water here. I'm sorry for all the mess around me, but I am actually working from home now, as sort of most of the people are. Um, excuse me. Um, and so I have a tiny room here. It's not ideal. I prefer to sort of video from the office. Right, anyway, let's get straight in. So I thought the other night we did some colouring and something cute with Winnie. So I thought tonight what we'd do is we'd go a little bit stamp soup. So I thought it'd be quite nice. We haven't done. Oh, Elaine, you've got G&T. Do you know what? I don't drink. I haven't had a drink really for years properly, but I actually feel like I could have a drink right now. It's not that I don't want one. I don't like it. I do like it. I just can't cope with the headaches that I get, the horrendous migraines and everything. So, hi Cindy, hi Zelly, hi Sandra. Everybody's here. Right. So let me switch to my other camera. So. And as you can see, this isn't even set up properly. But anyway, at least you're not looking at my boobs, really. Although my fat belly's there. But anyway, never mind. Nothing's set up properly. You'll just have to bear with me. I lost the will to live in the end. So we are now. Let me just zoom in on there because we need to be a little bit closer, I think, in there. There we go. That's a little bit better. Let me. Oh, I'm not very straight. That's going to mess with my mojo a bit. There we go. Oh, right, Nikki, calm. Okay, calm. So, stamp soup. So we are going to now. I forgot to bring my proper sets back. So what we're actually going to use is in fact, I'm using the wrong things. I thought we were using one thing and we're not. We're using a different one because I didn't have the packaging. So we are going to use the Circling Around stamp soup, which is this set here. And I thought this was a really good set to show you. Hi, Mila. I don't know if it's Mila or Milia. Corey's here. Anita Burns here. Thanks for joining us, everybody. It's really nice that you're here. At least me being late means that you all caught me. So I'm going to use Circling Around. And I thought Stamp Soup was a really good one because I know there'll be lots of people in the group that have never really experienced it, never really seen it, don't really get what it is. And it's very difficult sometimes if you see it in your local craft shop and you see this pack on a shelf and you turn it over, you'll be sorely disappointed when you actually see what you get. And that's because you have to understand what it actually is. So we're using Circling Around, and we're also going to use In a Frenzy as well. So these two sets go together. So usually when I design these, I design them in a pair, mainly because I can't get it all in one stamp set and I don't want it to be expensive. I want you to be able to afford to at least get one set, if that makes sense. You know, it makes pricing always makes a big difference. It does to me. So I always try and design in two sets so that there's lots of different options that you can use, even if you just get one set. But if you get them both, then it's amazing. So I wanted to do this because I've not actually... if you're wondering why I'm going like this, it's because everything's set up wrong. So everything's out of my eye line. I'm sorry. So I'm just going to switch back over onto this camera. So we are going to use mainly, probably mainly the circling around, I think. Can't remember which one it is now. Circling Around, this one. Sorry, let me just go back. Yeah, Circling Around. So that's that set. Okay. So we're going to use this one mainly, but this one as well. And as I said, they both work really well together. Now, you can see here, these are pretty well used on my part, and they're filthy. So I do apologise. And the other thing that I'm going to use is I'm going to use my Ecoline markers. Now, I love these. If you've not seen these before, basically, this is the Ecoline. This is a brush pen. You can also get them in ink droppers as well. So you literally just splash the ink on instead. This is much more controlled. So if you don't like getting messy or whatever. Hiya, Jen Cray. Hi. That was a bit of a woo, hello. So these are much more controlled, and they have a fab set of colours, as you can see there. These are some of the colours, and I've pulled out the ones that I'm going to use. And these are water-based. So this is a watercolour ink, a water-based ink. So let me just grab all my bits and pieces. The other thing that I always forget about, actually, is that they come with a blender pen as well. So like your Copic or your Pro Marker or your Spectrum Noir blender, this is actually just a water-based blender that you can use as well. I tend not to use it because I prefer to work with a paintbrush. And to be honest, I always forget it's there. But I just thought I'd mention it. So... the first thing I'm going to do, so as you can see, I always put my stamps onto a piece of white paper first of all so that I can actually see what I'm doing. You'd be amazed. So, I am going to just pull these over here. I've got a piece of watercolour card. This is my Bockingford paper, or Bockingford card, whatever you want to call it. And I've got all my little stamps and things here on the side with my ink blocks and everything. And I've actually already cut some masks out. But I'm going to actually... some of you will have seen this a million times and some of you won't. And I think masking is always one of those things that can be quite daunting for some people. Now, I actually got hold of... These are Post-its. But this is a massive big set, and I love these. They're really cool. So look out for these. I don't know where I got these from. I think it was just from the supermarket, and they were a really cheap set. It was like a big pack, because Post-it notes can be really expensive. But what I like about these is that look how much sticky's on this one. Normally on a post-it you only get like a little tiny bit of sticky like that. On these you've got at least double, and it's really good for making your masks. You can use reusable spray mount if you wanted to. I have tried that in the past. You just have to make sure. Yeah, someone's using Frisket there. I do have Frisket. I'm too mean to use it. I don't. I'm just too mean. I buy this stuff and then I'm like, oh no, I've got to keep that for best, which is really bad, isn't it? Sainsbury's has them, these ones. I wonder if that might be where I got them from, Tracy. Hello, by the way. So, for those of you that don't know how to mask and don't understand what that is, I'm sure most of you do, but just in case, basically all that means is that we need to create, when you stamp something, we're going to actually create a piece of, another stamped image, a piece of paper that will sit on top of the stamp. Yeah, Zig pen, yeah, I do that as well. Just have to be careful to make sure if you're using anything that's glue, just make sure that it does actually dry properly, because the amount of times I've done it and then when I've actually gone to put my mask on and take it off, it's actually the glue gets left behind. So say for instance we're stamping this image. What I want to do now is actually, if we're gonna make something, say we're gonna do a flower like this, but I want to stamp up here and I want another petal behind. Jane says she steals hers from work. I can't advocate that, Jane. Sergeant Savage, we call Jane. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually stamp that same stamp onto the post-it note, and then all you do is you literally just cut this out. So I've actually stamped that as much as I can over the sticky edge here, so that when I actually cut it out, it's got a bit of sticky. Now, this is a really good tip. Well, I think it is anyway. I always stamp more than one sheet. So generally I will do 3 or 4 even. And then all that I've got to do then is just cut this out. And I actually end up with 4 different masks just from making one. And it's just a really great little time saver trick. So I've got a load here that I've already done, and that's what I did here. So I cut 4 sheets out at once. And did them that way. So you don't, because you only need the outline shape, so you don't need, let me just show you. And this is another thing as well. On the stamp soup, these images are actually they look highly complicated because of how they're drawn, because they're quite sketchy, so they've got a lot of lines, and so they look quite complicated, but actually they're not. They're really easy to cut out. So once you actually look at the shape, that's so simple. It's not, I know a lot of you don't like cutting, but sometimes it's just not even worth getting a die out. In the time that you do that, you can't die cut something that fast. Not unless you're supersonic. So I've got all my masks here already prepared, and as we work, you'll see why I'm doing that. So let's just crack on. I'm aiming to get this done in half an hour. Whether I'll be able to or not, I don't know. So I'm just about to go wrong. So the first stamp I'm going to use is actually this one, which is from this set here. So it's all these like little circles and things. And the whole thing about Stamp Soup is that you have to play around with it. So the first thing I always do when I get these is, because I draw the shapes and then I kind of have to play around to see what they'll actually make. I need to make sure that you're going to be able to use them in lots of different ways. So for instance, with this one, the first thing that screams out to me here is that if you actually coloured this, and this isn't what we're going to be doing, but I just kind of want to show you. If we just let me grab that's on my put all my markers in the wrong way around. So So if we get a brown, look, you've now got a tree. Okay? How simple is that? This is actually a flower centre. This is kind of how it was meant to be. But then, if you actually use this same one again and colour it differently again, you could, and use that maybe with one of the other stamps, which is some leaves here. So, and then all we've got to do is, and don't worry where you've kind of overlapped there, because when you actually colour it in, you don't notice. And the whole reason this works is because I make them sketchy. It's just how I design them. I design them specifically this way. So look, now if we just dot in some colour here, let's get a little bit, it's a bit dark, a bit blue. And I'm just on scrap paper here, don't forget. But look, if we actually, now with the Echolines, they do dry quite quickly, so, because it is an ink rather than a paint. But look what we can start to do. And look, we've got all these like little, what do you call them? I don't know what you call them. Rhododendron thing, I don't know what they are. I'm not a planty person. But anyway, you get the gist. So out of that one stamp, we've got a flower centre, we've got a tree that could also be a bush, and then we've got a whole flower set here with its little things on. And do you see how you don't even notice where that's overlapped? Or if you wanted to, you could just still colour that bit in anyway, because it just looks like it's overlapping anyway. So, you know, it is very, very forgiving technique that we're doing here. Okay, right, let's crack on then. So you get the gist of what we're actually going to be doing and working on. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just stamp that same stamp, so our little Dewberry centre. And I'm just going to randomly stamp over here. So this card size, this piece of card is actually about just under a 6x4 or an A2 size card. So I'm going to put these there. So I just want 4 of those, and just going to put that back. And then the next one that I'm going to take is that one that we've just made the mask out of. And this is just such a simple technique that you can do. But I absolutely love this. So this stamp, and this is where you've got to play around. So this stamp you can do like this, or you can do like this. And then if we took, look, or you could have like that. And again, if we took this stamp here, again, with those leaves on, and did it again there, you've got 2 completely different flowers again. So this one could be like a bluebell that's hanging, and then this one here could be, this is like a tulip, isn't it? So this could be a tulip. So, you know, you've got completely different looks and completely different flowers just by playing around with it. And my biggest recommendation when you get these stamps is that you do this, that you get loads of scrap. Don't worry about it. Just stamp everything out about. You need to turn everything around. You need to twist it. The other thing with this one as well, I'm going to swap this over. You know, this isn't going to last half an hour, this is it. So look, if we do it this way, and then switch that over and go that way, and then we find a smaller stamp. Let's use this one. So this is what this one looks like. Okay, and then we can put that one in there, and now we've got a butterfly. And we even have somewhere, where's the other set? I'm going to go on to the other set and just grab one from the other set, which is this one. And then we can overstamp in there, And then we can actually, here you've got lots of like little squiggly bits and stuff. So now we can actually stamp some antennae in there. And how cool is that? A nice little cool butterfly. So, you know, from 2 flowers into a butterfly. And this one here is also a flower, or this also can be leaves too. So, you know, you can add that in here so it becomes leaves. And it's all about kind of like just really looking at things in a completely different way than you would normally, and expect to find things that you don't. It could be flames. Which one? This one, Jane, or this one? This definitely could be flames. Yeah, definitely. And actually, that's, you're going to see kind of some of that, I think, in what we're actually doing. So, where did my bit of card? There you go. Okay, so let's get on. So I knew I was going to get sidetracked because Stamp Soup is just awesome. It really is awesome. It's so cool. So, first of all, before I start, nearly went wrong there. I've got a couple of masks here. So I even masked these off. Now, don't worry about it too much. You just kind of need to basically cover up the majority of it. And I've only cut 2 of these. So I am going to stamp here. I'm going to then stamp next to it. And we're going to go in there. And I'm going off the edges and just working my way around. And you can see by how fast I'm doing this that, you know, I am not particularly paying great care in where I'm stamping. Okay. And then I'm going to just lift. Let me just get a poke to be a bit easier. Oh, everything is just conspiring. There we go. So I'm just going to lift that up there and use that on there instead. And the same with this one. So look, now we've got 2 amazing flowers already. And then we're going to do the same over here. So I think I'll do this one first. And this one. And you just literally turning them round each time. Hydrangea, that was it. That was the name of the flower. Yeah, thank you for that. Okay. How quick was that? Let me just turn that over. Do you know what? I can't stamp when I've got bits on when it's kind of conflicting with what I'm doing here. Okay. So, next I need some stems, some stalks, kind of whatever you want. Now in here, there's several things that can be used as stems. So we've got kind of a little thing here that looks like an aerial kind of thing. Another one here. A lot of these have circles and things on, a little squiggly line. And then you've got a thicker stalk here, which is actually quite nice. And I think we might use that one for a change. Usually I use a different one, but I like this one. So I'm going to just come in and we'll add some stalks. Now, what you can do with these, if you just hold it on the end like this, you can actually bend them round. Now, if you're going to do that, you just have to remember which way your stamp is going. So if you're kind of like coming off the edge here, or kind of here, you want it to go in that direction rather than it being, you kind of don't want a straight line. And actually, I wish I'd kind of done that slightly differently there. Now, here, where I've got a stalk, I'm going to just put my mask back on here because I don't want to stamp over the top of this. And what we'll do this time is we'll come down that way, and then we'll follow that through to there. So it actually looks like it's all twisting and it's kind of viney. So, and then we'll do the same over here as well. Now I know lots of you already have these, and I bet you played with them loads when you first got them, and you haven't played with them for ages, but you need to get all your stamp soups back out again. Okay, so just remove those as we go. Now the other stamp that I want to use is actually this one that we were using before. So the one with lots of like little leaves. There's loads of different ones in these sets. You know, if I just bring in this set here as well. So you've got like lots. So this is a quite nice little leaf one here. These are leaves. You know, there's lots of different things that you can use as leaves. So, but this one's particularly good for foliage, and there's kind of odd stamps that I put in that are there to kind of make your life a bit easier. You don't always want to be building everything up all the time. And, you know, I always say, it's a bit corny, but I always kind of say, you know, the whole thing with stamp soup is that we're giving you the ingredients to make a recipe. And, you know, what you make is completely up to you. So we've kind of built that up at the bottom. And then what I'm going to do, let me see, let me just grab a smaller block. I think what we'll do is we'll use this little tiny one off that set, because I just want to get a little bit of foliage up here. So again, a completely different one now. Don't want to overdo it, but we just do definitely need some leaves in there. Oops. And it doesn't matter, you know, if you make a boo-boo, it doesn't matter. It's very forgiving because everything's got double lines. Everything looks like it's sketched. Okay, so I think, oh, I've missed something off. Yeah, something cool that I wanted to add on. So there's this little stamp here, which is really cool. So this is one of my favourites, and you have to really kind of play around with this one, and you can do so much. This makes great birds, it's rocks, it's the tops of a flower, so you could actually have it as the top of a, you know, make it as like the top of a daisy or something like that. But it makes lots of other things as well. So I'm just going to see if I can sneak it in here. Yeah, I can just. And I'm going to see if I can sneak it up there too, which I can. Okay, the round blocks are great. Yes, they are. You will love the round blocks. We do have them in stock. We haven't got that many, but we're getting some more made because they've been really popular. I absolutely love them. Now that one, I'm going to actually put another little dotty thing on there, like a little grid. And then, let me think. Right, I'm not going to add anything else to that for now. We'll come back and we'll do some more stamping in a minute. Okay, so we need to get colouring. So, Ecoline markers, Ecoline, however you want to call it. If you've never used these, I really recommend you try them. So I'm using just a paintbrush. If you want to use a water brush, you can. And I'm going to actually colour my background first. So I'm just going to feed some water all around the edges of where I kind of want there to be some background colour. And it's just really to just wet that paper. I'm not overdoing it. So as you can see, I'm not adding loads in there. I just kind of want to get a little bit of colour going on. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, oh, it's a bit filthy. I'm going to use my acrylic block just as a palette. And we are going to just scribble some ink on here. So I'm going to pick some up, and because these aren't, they are watercolour based, they are a watercolour, but they do dry quite quickly. So don't go too mad. And what I would say is don't go too far with them. So kind of do a little area at a time and work that, and get it kind of. What I do is I kind of like look at my composition, and I kind of go, okay, so the background in here is now blocked. So this is all one area, all this top bit. So I'm going to work this top bit all in one go, because I want all of this to blend nicely. So, I kind of don't want it to dry out too much. Now I'm going to use a baby wipe, and I'm just going to blot some of this back. Okay, so I kind of want to have some darker areas and some lighter areas. So in here, where you've got quite a lot going on, we want this to be quite dark, because it's kind of going to be all the shadow and everything. Now, I also have a different pen here, or a different colour rather. It's like a nice sea greeny kind of colour. So I'm going to just mix that in. And you'll notice I've not added any more water. Now, I'm going to actually pull this into here as well and just do this bit at the same time. So, and I'm doing it in a way that I'm going to actually get the same kind of colours as I'm mixing it as I go. So kind of like in there, because it would look weird if you could end up where you don't quite have the right colours going on. I have to excuse me sniffing, because pollen's quite high today. Now you can see I'm not really worrying too much about running over the edges, because you won't really notice that when we actually finish. So each time I just do a little bit, and then I come back and I kind of blot it and blend it. And if you go too heavy-handed, like I say, use a baby wipe, because it'll kind of pick it up. You could use tissue as well, but I do like using baby wipes, because they kind of pick it up quite nicely. Yeah, it's a nice combo, isn't it? Green and that sort of greeny blue is really nice. And these colours, those four colours work really, really well together. They're fabulous. So quite often what I'll do is add a little bit of yellow, and this is a turquoise, like an aqua turquoisey colour, which is really nice. If you feel like it's getting a little bit dark, it's nice to just add a bit of depth, or kind of if you feel like it's not very vibrant and you want it more vibrant, that's a really great colour for adding a bit more vibrancy in. I need a bigger block. I've I don't know what I've done with them all. Okay, so I'll add a bit more of that in it over here now, I think. Let's get a bit more depth. So one of my rules is always kind of like try not to go for more than 3 colours when you kind of blend in doing something like this. Less is more. When you start using more than 3 colours, that's kind of when it can start looking muddy, when you get that kind of muddy effect. Okay, so I'm going to start working down here, and actually I do want to just blend that in there a bit more. And again, I'm just going to come back. If you're finding that it's not blended, your blending isn't great, just use that baby wipe or a bit of tissue, something like that. The baby wipe still keeps it nice and moist. That's why I like doing it with that. So we'll get a bit more of the blue going on. And the other thing that we can do as well, so I'm going to add water in here. So this is quite a big area. So can you see how I'm just kind of going around the edge? So I'm just going to do this little area, because this is quite a big part here. And then what you can do, because these are a pen, you can actually just go direct onto your paper. Now, what I would say is if you do that, do an even smaller area. So you need to work this. If you're going to put that amount of colour in, you really need to work it quite quickly, because they do have a staining, you know, they do kind of stain whilst they're working. I need to just, got stray hair. Bear with me. That's irritating me. It's making me. So if you ever get a stray hair on your brush, just nick it off. Yeah, so it will stain more than a watercolour will, because these are very, very intense kind of colours, as you can see. And you could use a water brush if you want. Use what you prefer. At the end of the day, it's down to you. You use what you like using. I like using both, and I have different times for using both. I use, you know, a water brush sometimes and not others. So I'm just gently blotting that water. And, you know, I know I said about this the other night, but, you know, the reason why I kind of prefer to work with a paintbrush over the water brush when I'm actually colouring like this is because I feel personally like I've got a little bit more control. With the water brush, it has a valve in it, or if it's a good one, it does. If you buy a cheap water brush and you can't get on with it, it'll be because it doesn't have a valve. Whenever you buy one, you need to always make sure it's got a proper valve in there. Otherwise, there's no point in having it. You're just pouring water on. I must admit, I haven't seen one without a valve for a really long time. But when they first came out, you know, as with everything, there were lots of cheap rip-offs, and people couldn't understand why they couldn't get on with it, and it's because they didn't have valves in. Okay, so I'm just gonna flood that area a little bit, and again, let's just blot some of that colour out. There's nothing wrong with having white space. White space is great. Okay, and I'm just mixing these two colours as we go. And then just roughly down the bottom here. And we can always go back and add more colour, which is what we'll do. I just kind of want to get this wash on there first of all, so that I can kind of define my area that I'm working in and see where my flowers are and where I need to sort of really pay attention. So I tend to kind of work like this most of the time. So I'll kind of get all the background done and then I'll go back and add more. So now you can't see it quite so much from this angle, but it is, you know, I am bleeding and I have bled over the lines quite a lot, but I'm really not bothered. So now I'm going to go back, and what you can do as well, you can actually put colour straight onto your brush too, and sometimes that's quite a nice way of actually blending without adding loads more water. So I kind of like having all of this quite dark behind the flowers. So you can go in like quite dark in some areas and it makes it look like shadows. And then what you can do is you can also blend direct on your paper as well, if you've got those really nice dark areas. Just remember to just blend it out each time. I need some green in there because I didn't add any before. Well, it's kind of like a sea green. And just blend. So if any of you got any questions, I can see them all. It's very calming watching me work. But isn't it calming? It's just calming anyway, isn't it? After all the hassle earlier with the technology, I've kind of forgotten all about that now because I'm just chilled and zoned out, and that's what's so great about craft, isn't it? I think I'm hoping we've had loads of new people join the group this week. I'm quite interested if any of them are watching, whether you're new crafters, whether you've been around, or you've just found us, or you've just not been in the group before. I love finding out where everyone's from and, what kind of brought you here and everything else. So if you're actually watching, leave us a comment. So look at that night. How nice is that starting to build up around there? So I'm trying to go as fast as I can, guys, for you, because I get that it can be a bit boring. So, and I'm just feathering just a little bit in. And it'll, because it is watercolour or water-based, it is still moving. Even after I've kind of finished in an area, it's still moving. So, allow that to kind of happen. Oh, sorry, am I enabling you to order the Echolines? You're going to love them. Just please make sure that you do use them. Because you guys, honestly, crafters, we're all insatiable. We've got to have all this stuff, and then by the time it arrives, we've forgotten why we ordered it, or we've gone on to a different project, and then we forget, and then find them ages later. I mean, I do as well. I've not used these for a little while, and the other day I was like, oh, I came across them, and I was like, oh yeah, my Echolines, where have they gone? So we're all the same. Just try and use things. Try, because you will fall in love with these. They're fabulous. And so you can see that really all I'm doing here is just creating a nice deep dark shadow. Yes, I'm an enabler. I know, I'm sorry. Do you know, one of the worst things I ever felt an enabler for, and some of you will remember this, was when back in the Letraset days, when we did a one what was it called? Pick of the week, with Letraset aqua markers, and they sold out, and because they sold out, because of the advertising regulations and stuff, and we can't show things that we don't physically have the stock for anymore, or we have to be very careful, so they wouldn't let me demo them anymore. And then I kept asking Letraset to bring them back on some more shows, so that I could actually, because I was really conscious that I'd kind of been there for a whole week saying, oh, these are amazing, you should really have these. And then I didn't get a chance to show you lots of things to do with them. And I knew that a lot of you would get them home and then forget why you'd bought them. And they never let me back. Or it wasn't that they didn't let me, but we just never managed to get them back in stock. And so I never got back onto air with them again. And I was furious for years. And here I am now, still talking about that. Because I hate that kind of thing, where you kind of buy something because someone's shown you how to use it. And then by the time it arrives with you, everybody's moved on to do something else, and you've got no idea why you bought it in the first place or how to use it. I think that's really awful. So, hopefully I never do that. And if I do, it's never intentionally. So, if I ever enabled you to buy Pro Marker Aqua markers and you were cursing me for not showing you how to use them again, that's the story of why that never happened. Okay. So I've gone a bit heavy-handed around there, but it's okay. I think what I might do is I might get a bit more turquoise. This is taking ages. Didn't realise it had... I did one this afternoon, but it didn't take me this long. I think it was because I'm gossiping. So I'm going to get a bit more blue going in there. So this is that turquoisey colour. And I'm not going to go too dark over here because we're dark on this side. So we'll concentrate on this being dark and leave this area maybe a little bit lighter. And I think I've got ink all the way up my arm. My arm feels wet. Yeah, never mind. This will all blend out on its own. It'll start working anyway. Right, okay. We're kind of going to leave that one there. So let's just switch colours. So it looks quite lush, doesn't it? Do you know, it looks lovely just like that on its own, I think. So what I'm going to do now, first of all, just going to quickly, that's all you need to do for your centres. How pretty is that? Just like that. It's to me, I love that. I think it's really lovely. I've just got to do something though because it's just bugging me. I've just missed a little bit around here. Sorry. Just get, well, I've got it on, don't waste your ink, you know, or your paint. So whilst I've still got paint on there, I'll just use it and go back in. Okay. So I'm then going to just colour these petals in. So if you've joined us late and you're wondering what we're kind of using, if you scroll back after the video, if you scroll back to the beginning, I'm actually using the circling around and the, oh, I can't remember the name. Oh gosh, what's it called? The other one, Inner Frenzy. Not Inner Frenzy. Is it Inner Frenzy? I don't know. Can't remember. I'll show you again when we've done. I'll show you at the end. So just quickly, you know, I'm not doing anything great here, so just flicking backwards and forwards. Okay, so I've got really nice bright yellows. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to build some colour up. So this one is, that was yellow, this one is called, this is just orange. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flick this through like that. And then just drag, not too much because I don't want to miss. I like having all these like little white bits. And notice how I'm rotating my work around. It just makes it easier. When you're flicking, it's like when you're doing your colouring with your Copics or whatever you like to colour with. You know, the best flicks are always done by rotation and flicking towards you or flicking away. It doesn't matter which way you go as long as you're kind of consistent with how you're doing it. And then I'm going to go to another colour. Now, which colour did I use before? So, this is Scarlet, and this one is Carmine. Now, I'm going to go to Carmine, and I'm going to use Carmine because if you can see here, the Scarlet's very red. It's more of a tomatoey red. The Carmine has got a little bit of pink in there, a bit of blue. So this time, I'm going to actually add just a bit less and just flick. So each time, this is just like colouring with your Copics or your alcohol markers, your Spectrum Noirs, whatever it is you use. And we're creating that depth of field in the petals. So that's kind of what's going to make the petals really stand out, is when we actually have that darker colour coming in the centre. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to dot a bit of that into the middle of these here as well, to give us those dark areas in the actual petal centres, in the flower centres rather. Time away, oh gosh. 8:30. What did I say? I was going to finish by 8:30. No chance. No chance. What planet was I on? Okay, so I'm just going to get a brush and just blend that out just a little bit, just to soften some of those lines. But I don't want to get rid of all those marks, because they're what actually make it look really nice and arty. Okay, and if you wanted, you could go back over that with your yellow again and kind of blend it back with the yellow if you wanted. So, you know, you could kind of come back in if you wanted to. I'm not going to. Right, okay, so let's do the stalks. So we're going to... Oh, this is the wrong green. Keep doing this. It looks like it's the right green, but it's not the right green. I think maybe this is the green I want here. This is that one. I think it's the lighter one I want. Okay. So let's get the stalks in. And I'm just going to add some green into here. And look how quickly this actually builds up. And can you see why I wasn't bothered about going over the lines? Because we're kind of using the same colour tones across everything. So it's all kind of going to blend together anyway quite nicely. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the turquoise a little bit to add some depth into those as well. So where we've got shading, you know, kind of just run down the edge of your leaves and your stalks. And, you know, you don't need to be... I know the light source should all come from one direction. Do you know what? Just do it. Don't worry about it. There's bigger things to worry about right now than where your light source is coming from. It really doesn't matter. Nobody notices. Okay. And then all I want to do is there's some little in amongst... I'm doing it again. Where am I? Use a different colour. In that leafy stamp, there's lots of like little hearts and things in there. So I'm going to use those as leaves as well. Now I am going to get my carmine again, and I'm going to colour direct on with this. Love that colour, it's gorgeous. And that one. And I want to grab my pink, and I'm just gonna highlight just a few, maybe just do like a few little dots here and there. Not too, I don't want to do too many, but it just adds a little bit of interest. And then I have here my white markers. So I get asked all the time about I used to get asked all the time about which white marker. The Posca ones are my current favourites. Having said that, I have all sorts of white markers. I try them all. I loved the Graphic did a really fantastic white marker. The jelly roll, that's a really nice one as well. At the moment, the Posca ones are my favourites right now, until something else comes along. Just use the one that you prefer. Just give them a good shake, and I'm just going to add little highlights onto those centres of the flowers, and it'll just help. Whoops, that's really wet. Let me just dry that off. I didn't realise there was a big gloop of wet there. So if you've this is why it doesn't matter if you've actually bled your colour a bit, because you can just go back in and highlight, and you can highlight over where you kind of bled some of the ink, so it hides it. It's very forgiving. And you're not colouring all the dots in, we're just literally making like little circles and just following the stamp. Gosh, it's warm in here. It's been warm today, hasn't it? It's like a greenhouse in this room. So now that this has dried, I'm also going to come back to that. And where has that gone? Never mind. I'm going to grab a Sharpie. Not that one. Oh, not that one. Oh, I'm looking for my black pen. It's vanished on me. I must be hiding here somewhere. I haven't been anywhere with it. How annoying. Right, hang on. I've got another one. Oh. Never mind. Okay, so we are going to... I'm going to colour in the face there. And we're just going to do little half moons. So the great thing about your stamp soup, I hope you're understanding now kind of what you need to do and how versatile these stamps are. That, you just basically need to play around, have a look, see what each one can do. And then I'm going to just grab, let me see, hang on. I've lost this down. There we go. So I've got this really cute little, can you see that? It's actually a little heart, and this makes really cute little embellishments, this. So I'm going to just add a few just in there, really sweet. But this also is really good for making little ears or little antennae and stuff like that. And I'm just going to do a flick. Oops. And a flick there. Oops. I'm going to do a little eye. 2 little eyes there. 1 eye there. And then we're going to use our white pen just to highlight. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to actually trace my white pen around the edges of these flowers. Gosh, how are we doing on time? I'm so sorry, this has run on really long. What time do you guys, what's the best time for you to do these Facebook Lives? It's always really difficult knowing what's the best time to do them. Obviously I don't want to be here at midnight, particularly. I don't think Mr. Doodles would be very impressed. But, if it's better to do it at 7 or 8, or is it better, in the afternoon? I know it's kind of difficult because we're all a bit of 6s and 7s with the timing, with us all being at home and stuff. So if you tell me what the best time is, I'll go with kind of what's the most popular one. Obviously, those of you in Europe or in the States, you know, it's kind of, I kind of want to be there when it's good for you guys as well. So just leave me a comment about the best times. So I'm just going to pick out some of these leaves as well and just add some highlights on the leaves and these little circles. And that will just make a difference too. And then these little stems have like little frilly bits on. You'll see when I actually hold this up a bit closer. And if you wanted to, one thing that kind of is quite nice on here is just to add a few little trace lines of dots. It just kind of takes some of the attention away. If you feel like your colouring's being a bit messy, or that you've got some messy areas, this is a really good attention grabber. Let me just hold that up for you. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like if you put those in, it kind of, that starts to really focus your eyes in here and away from these messier edges that you might have been doing. So, you know, have a go at that as well. And just drag a few of them. You know, you don't need to go too mad. If you start doing them, you kind of need to do them on everyone. I think so with this anyway. I hope you're all going to have a go at this. It'd be lovely if tomorrow I wake up and you've all been adding loads of these to the group. I particularly love this flower. I think it's gorgeous. I might have to make this into an actual stamp, this flower shape, because I think it's lovely. And then all I'm going to do is just, this is a nice thick Posca, and I'm just going to add some nice big chunky dots of white in there as well. Again, not too many, but I just want to add just like a little bit of interest. And I know I do this quite a lot, but oh, that ladybird looks like they're coming out of its bum, but never mind. It's just my thing. You know, this is why we're called polka doodles, because it's my thing. You know, I just love dots. Always have since I was a little girl. Always remember my favourite things that I ever had to wear were always dotty. I think I had one dress, a dotty dress that I had for about, I don't know, I must have worn it the whole way through primary school, I think. My mum won't remember, but I do. I bet it was the only thing I ever wore. Not that we had much money, so probably didn't have that many clothes anyway, but... So we'll just add a few more. And it wouldn't matter if you went over the top of these. That's fine, but I just want to get a few in under here. And then all I want to do now is, this is why I'm annoyed, because where has that pen gone? Bear with me 1 second. Whilst I just... Okay, so this is curled a little bit now, so I'm just going to bend it back. And I'm just going to edge. This is running out. All my markers. You can tell the ones that I use all the time are all running out. So, oh, that's painful. Is there another one? That's better. Mind you, I have had these for a long time now. Mr. Brown's polka. Oh, Nelly, you do make me laugh. Helen Nellie Wiles. Oh, she's so lovely. Helen and I have known each other for quite a long time now, and we were talking one day, and we were saying, you know, we're both children of the 70s. Well, no, I was late 60s, but, you know, kind of like children of the 70s, really. And we were saying that it just came out in this conversation that, you know, we didn't really have much when we were growing up, and um, you know, about catalogue, you know, how our mums had catalogues and stuff, and um, you know, I was saying, oh yeah, we had this man that used to come round in his car with a suitcase full of clothes, and he was called Mister. And Helen went, oh yeah, we did. He was called Mister Brown, and ours was called Mister Brown too, which was really freaky. And we live a long way from each other. Helen lives in Nottingham, and I live in Yorkshire, and that's a long way. So whether or not it's the same, we think it's the same Mr. Brown. Bless him, he won't be alive now. I don't think he was old then. But he used to just come with this suitcase full of clothes, and my mum used to get these clothes from him and stuff. Um, and it's just always made us laugh ever since. So we're always talking about Mr. Brown's suitcase. Bless. So, anyway, there you go. How sweet. And actually, do you know what? There's one thing I need to do on there that I'm not happy with. You see my little ladybirds? They're hovering, they're floating. So I'm just gonna add a little shadow in there, and also, oh, do you know, this is where you kind of have to stop. You see, I just want to use a little bit of grey just in the tops of those. I need to walk. I need to leave it alone, otherwise I'll. Deborah, we did too. We called him the Panda Man as my mum brought panda for my little brother's birthday on the Never Never. Yeah, but she had to pay him weekly, I think, or monthly. But yeah, Mr. Brown. I wonder if they were all called Mr. Brown, or was Mr. Brown just a wanderer? Did he go all around the UK? Maybe he went all over Europe and the States as well. Let me know if you had a Mr. Brown as well that used to come and visit. So, this, this is. No, I can't help myself, Elaine. You're right. I kind of, honestly, I just have to walk away because I keep going and going and going. It's just like the shadow, the shadow, the shadow. So this is kind of one that I did earlier, just to kind of show you. So on this one, all I did was, I was going to make these, but because time's getting on, I've been on for nearly an hour already. Gosh, time flies. It's amazing I ever get through a demo on Ho Chanda. So I just added some butterflies here. So again, you know, using those stamps. So that stamp's a petal, it can be a flower. These are also petals that can be butterflies or flowers or leaves. You get the gist. And I just added some antennae and cut it out, and then just kind of like glued them on. So there's loads of dimension on that one. Let me just, can you see there? Got the dimension. I love cards with dimension. So that's really nice. And then just another one. I did this one ages ago. I did this when we actually when we did the TV launch. And this is the card that I made on for the TV launch. I don't think I actually did it on air. I don't think I did. But it's just the same again, just slightly different. Look how nice it looks once you actually add your sentiment on there as well. But same colours, same ink, slightly different paper. This was a cold pressed paper. In fact, this is a linen paper, and so it just gives a lot more texture, and it's a little bit darker in colour. This one, I think this one is a bit more clean and crisp. But you know, they're both nice. So, and just to show you some other things that you can make with those sets, this is that same stamp again. Look, so that's your leaves. Look how beautiful that is. Look at that flower. I absolutely love this. This card is just, and again, those same, I've used exactly the same stamps again. So that's the same leaf that was in the butterfly, look. So it's the same stamp that's actually in the leaves. And then all I've done is just tucked that behind. This is looking a bit dog-eared now, but I've just took that behind some frames. And And then just to show you another one. So again, that same flower again, or that same shape again. And again, that's what the butterfly's wings again. This stamp is in that set as well. There's that stem, so you can see why that stem's in there. That's kind of like your mushroom stems. And all of these bits and pieces are all in there. The little hearts that I put into into here, look. So these little hearts, look, I made like little fireflies with those. So I just like literally stamped two together and just flicked a couple of little things. That stamp in the background, we don't have that anymore. That's discontinued, but that's one of the silhouette stamps. You might find that in stores somewhere, I don't know, but we don't have that anymore. And then all I did was I kind of coloured these ones in black just to make it have that outline. I've got a couple more, but you know what? I think I might save them because I think you can do so much with this set, and it's such a nice set. I think I might save those and we'll do another one. So you should all craft along next time. So thank you for joining me after all the delayed start. I'm sorry it's so late now, but I really love being online with you all and kind of interacting with you all. It's great. All the feedback's fabulous. So I'll have a look at the timing and see whether 7 o'clock's a good time or whether we should do it earlier maybe, because you can always rewatch it anyway. I'm actually loading all of these onto YouTube, so you can access that through the front of the website, or you can just go and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Lou and I are doing loads more videos for you, and then we've also got the YouTube. We've got, I think it's 4 or 5 girls now doing YouTube videos. Rosa is a nurse, so she's currently she's in the States, but she's currently obviously out of action. But you know, thank you, Rosa, and thank you to anybody that's a key worker and on the front line at the moment. You know, it's you're just all amazing. You honestly, it just I just can't believe the sacrifices that you all make. So if you're one of those people, or you know someone, or you've got someone in your family that is, then thank you from the bottom of my heart, genuinely. And thank you to all of you for supporting us through such a difficult time. It's quite scary for businesses right now, but thank you all so much. Watch out, because I will be, I don't know when's the next one. Is it Sunday? I think I've got a couple of days off. I've realised it's Easter Sunday, but I think Sunday's I think Easter's a bit out of the window this year. So maybe by Sunday we'll all need a little bit of craft relief. So I'll try and come up with something different for Sunday. But thanks for joining me. And I think you've had enough of me now. So it's over and out from me. So I promised to tell you what the stamps were. So it's the circling around stamp soup, and actually I'll put a link into here for you, because I can actually link it, and I'll put the links in the comments. And it's also in a frenzy stamp soup as well. So both of those sets are what I've used tonight. So thank you for joining me. Love to you all. Thanks so much for your support, as I said, and I will see you soon. Bye.